Hello everybody and welcome to the final third, and today we're doing a bit of a special video. We're going to be going back to our Premier League predictions in terms of what we predicted, who we thought would be champions, top four, so on and so forth. We'll go through it, same list, same style we did in that first video. Obviously again, Hassan's not here, he's currently studying for his exams, but just a little disclaimer, this is all hindsight at the time, so we all predicted all this, do you know what I mean? We didn't know what was going to happen, so some of the predictions are a bit stinky, and even then, you never know. We're only just about halfway through the season, just a bit
some
over.
of them are already kind of confirmed, though, let's be fair, so...
That's true, that is true, but some of them, you never know how, if they have a great half a season, they could change. Anyway... And obviously we'll do the half-season review as well, see how teams are doing, you know, if we want to discuss any of that as well. So, but yeah, we'll be covering that. But before we do, Al, do you want to reveal the player from the last video?
Yes, the player was Henrik Larsson. Obviously, he had a short stint in the Premier League at Man United on loan. I think it was only like, he scored only a few goals. And, yeah, pretty good player, to be fair.
Yeah, great player for Celtic, but
yeah,
didn't really do it for Manchester United. Obviously, he wasn't there that long. But let's just jump straight into it. So, we'll start off with the category of champions. Champions all round, we predicted Liverpool. Now, let's be honest. Looking at it at the time, it's fair. It was fair to say after the summer transfer window they had.
Yeah. Well. How's that? You know. How's that turned out, eh? Look, they ain't doing awful. I mean, they're still in the top four. However... Yeah. I mean, the start of the season they had... the performances weren't there, but they were winning most of the games. Like, for the first, 6 weeks or so. But then there was a massive drop-off, and it was quite worrying. And to be honest, surprising that Slot's still in the job. Because that, period of when they were just losing game after game made me think, surely he's going to go. But I think he has so much credit in the bank from the Premier League, title win last season that it's kept him in the job. They're not doing too bad now. Obviously, they just won tonight against Barnsley. And, some good performances from, some of the players that have had to try and find their way in the team, with Florian
the new
Wirtz, for
signings,
example. Obviously, I could see K hit the ground running, so he's easily the best signing they've made for sure, and he's probably the only signing really that's hit the ground running. The others, some of them Kirkes, unfortunately, I don't think he's been good whatsoever. Really, if I'm being honest, I think he's flopped a little for them. Frimpong, he's starting to show some signs of confidence, good performances, and then of course with Florian Wirtz as well. So and then obviously got Isak, who's injured, obviously, but as well, even before that, wasn't really doing anything. So not been the best season for him. But
yeah, no, I agree. And obviously the current league leaders are Arsenal. They are 6 points clear as of 21 games played. Now, none of us predicted them to win the league, but we did predict them in the top four. Which we'll move on in a second. I mean, discussing Arsenal's season, they have been the best team of the league by far. The two games they lost were Liverpool away
and Villa.
And what was the other game? And Villa away, yeah. So two very, very hard games. That's when Liverpool at the beginning of the season, when they were, like we say, on that vein where they were won 7 games in a row at the time. But then, they obviously had a bad fall off then. But Arsenal, I think they've been very convincing. In some of the draws, you could say, you know what I mean? But not the Arsenal of old, where 2 seasons ago, where they went to teams and they were smashing them when the teams kicked to their home place and would smash them. We've seen in the result against Wolves when they only beat them by Wolves scoring all 3 goals and only 2-1. So that wasn't convincing at all. But again, sometimes title-winning teams, they need a bit of luck. So, Arsenal are the best team of the league, as the table shows. But let's discuss the top 4 prediction. The top 4 prediction was also the same. We had Manchester City, which they are second place, and that's fair. Chelsea, who have hit a very bad vein of form as of late. They look like they could have finished in the top 4, but they've hit a very bad form as of late. And again, they could change their season around, because we discussed this a lot. From 15th to 4th, there's only 9 points. So that's over 11 places, and that can change from anywhere at the end of the season. So we don't know where Chelsea can finish. And again, Arsenal, we said top four, and they are leading the league. So what do we think about those predictions? Are
I think they were pretty fair predictions, if I'm being honest, because they seemed like, first of all, these clubs had the strongest transfer windows. Second of all, I think didn't Chelsea finish fourth anyway last season anyway?
yeah,
It was either fourth or fifth. Yeah, fourth.
it was the same top. Well, the top
Exactly.
four was that top four last season.
Yeah, exactly. We pretty much predicted the same top four from last season, and the only difference is Liverpool are fourth, Villa are third, and Chelsea are fifth. This season. And to be fair, Chelsea still have an opportunity to get into the top four, but it'll probably be between them and Liverpool, for fourth, if I'm being honest. Whereas Villa seem like they have, established themselves properly in that top four. Again, it's only halfway through the season, so literally anything can change. They could probably go on a bad run of form themselves, Villa, whereas the other two teams, start to pick it up. But obviously a bad thing, maybe you could say, for Chelsea, could end up being a good thing, is obviously Maresca getting sacked or leaving the job, and they're bringing in this new manager from Strasbourg. Obviously, he had not really proven, so we have to wait and see how that goes. Obviously, first game he managed, they won, but again, not really against a worthy opponent, you could say. It's not, we can't really, read too much into this result for him, if you know what I'm saying. I don't think it would be too early, because we need to see how he can fare in the Premier League first against some maybe harder opponents. But it seems like it's not too bad, as some of the fans have made it feel. Probably, I don't think they've given him any chance at all. And I can understand, because the whole thing that went with Maresca, leaving, and how well he was kind of doing with Chelsea. I can understand their frustrations. And obviously, not just happened with him, happened with Ruben Amorim, and we'll probably talk about him later with one of the other predictions. But again, I don't think they were too bad predictions. Only one of those teams aren't in the top four, which is obviously Chelsea. So
Yeah.
not too bad.
Obviously, you can discuss Man City, but we definitely expected Man City to be in the top four. That is no question. They've been in the top four for however long, and obviously they won the league so many times. They're either second or first, really, and that's the consistency of Manchester City since Pep Guardiola's come in. Obviously, you discussed Chelsea. I mean, Arsenal obviously are leading the league. We already discussed them. So, let's move on to the fifth and sixth places. Obviously, those were the Europa League spots. Me and Hassan both predicted United and Newcastle. I think, very fair predictions. I mean, Newcastle is sixth, United is seventh, so it could still finish like that. And Ali predicted Villa. Obviously, they are in the top three, and they could still finish in that position. But then he also predicted Tottenham. So maybe you should justify that.
Right, I'm not
maybe
sure
try and justify it.
There's no way I can really justify it. Look, I think the only reason I even went for this was considering they won the Europa League, got in Thomas Frank, who I thought was a great coach, a great manager. Obviously, we had seen what he'd done at Brentford, and I thought maybe it could have been like, how like Vincent Kompany went to Bayern Munich, and look how he's cooking. Obviously at Burnley he weren't doing that well. At Bayern Munich, who did I just say? I said Kompany, right?
Kompany, yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, I just thought bro. Anyway,
just crazy the fact they're comparing them. That's
no. My point is, I try to use this, like, sometimes what you find is managers can be held back by the players they have at the club to be able to play their system. I think that's what happened with Vincent Kompany at Burnley. Of course, like, they didn't do great. They got relegated straight away with Vincent Kompany. But then look at him at Bayern with the tactics that he had. It's clear when you have the right players for your system, it can, like, work to a T. And for some reason, I thought that could work with Tottenham, but it couldn't have been.
I mean, you're right about the system working. I mean, look at how Brentford did under him, and look at the
but I'm saying, like, just look
create.
how wrong that prediction was. I mean, it
Obviously,
couldn't be more, like, opposite from that. And then you can, like, imagine, like, bro, like, the fans are against him. He's probably going to get sacked in the next week or two.
You're going to have to discuss him later anyway, because you predicted him in another
everything that could go wrong with it went wrong. Just simple as that.
100%. Agreed.
Doesn't look right.
I mean, the Tottenham one was a bit stinky, but me justifying me and Hassan's prediction is fair. I mean, Newcastle, They had a
They're
poor
sick,
start
man.
to the season. I mean, listen,
Yeah,
it's such an open league this year. You
yeah.
don't know where anyone's going to finish. Anyone can
Honestly,
finish anywhere. It is so close. So like I said, bro, we don't know what the league table is going to look like, except for probably the top four, maybe.
and maybe
That fourth spot is
relegation.
probably up for grabs still. Maybe even third place, because I'm not sure. You have to see whether Villa can hold it up. They are still obviously in fantastic form, but
Yeah.
can they keep the consistency up? Where obviously the
Here they're
Europa League
losing
gets to the
Daniel
latter
Marlin to
stages. Do you know what I
Roma,
mean?
so that's not ideal,
Who
is it? Marlin's there's a
is he? Oh
possible.
yeah, I
He's
heard.
not. I don't
Yeah,
know if
I
it's
mean,
guaranteed yet, but or like it's been a
I
done
don't know.
deal.
We'll have to
But
wait. That's what I'm
I
saying.
think
You know, they need as much
their
depth
biggest
as they have.
worry could probably be their depth. Exactly. I think if they can boost their depth in the transfer window, then they'll probably have a good chance of staying in the top three.
Yeah, 100%. But let's move on to the relegated sides, because this is where it starts to get a bit interesting. From this point on, it starts to get a little bit more interesting. Okay, so me and Ali predicted
The exact
Burnley.
same, right?
So far, looks pretty good.
Yeah.
Well, Hassan as well, actually. Hassan predicted
We all
Burnley
predicted
2.
Burnley basically.
We all predicted Burnley. We all predicted Leeds. Hassan predicted Sunderland, which obviously that's not a good one. But ours is probably the worst. We predicted Brentford to get relegated.
Uh,
But I'm just going to defend a little bit at the time. Obviously, hindsight is everything.
yeah.
They lost Mbomo, they lost Wissa, they lost their manager. We
And they
all
lost the
thought that this
captain.
could fall apart. And they lost the captain. They lost loads of. They lost the goalkeeper as well. Let's
Yeah,
not forget
yeah,
that. But again, their signings hit the ground running. All of them,
100%.
pretty much.
They've
And their team has just
yeah,
built it. If anything, they might be better than under Thomas Frank, which
might
is kind of.
might. I mean, they're the fifth or something. Well, where are they now? They're like
They are currently fifth, but again, like I said, it's a close league table.
yeah,
Oh, listen, you don't know. All I'm saying is Thomas Frank
it's
did it for a
mental.
while and, got very good results. I mean, listen, if Brentford get Europe, then obviously there's no question. But the point is, we predicted them because they lost so many players, but they have proved us wrong and some.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, I think just to like defend ourselves a little here, I think it was like I think there was some good justification in that. Like you say, they lost a lot of big components to the team, the manager, a lot of the key players. Can you really blame us for thinking? I don't even think we're the only people that got had them down to get relegated. I think a lot of people would have probably had them down to get relegated for this reason. And look, I think this season has shown us even more why Brentford are such a good club in terms of the way they run and how well they run, because you can just see clearly through the recruitment they did in the transfer window to replace these players, just like how good the recruitment is. They've managed to, like Jordan Henderson. I remember when that happened, I'm thinking, is that a great signing? He's very old and this and that. But the experience he's brought into that team has been so vital for the way they play and the way they've just gotten through games. And then you got Kelleher, who has been one of the better keepers in the league this season. The amount of times he saved them on multiple occasions. And then you've got, bro, who else have they signed? I don't even know. Obviously, and then you got Igor Tia. I know that was from last season, but the way they had him, just
We
to
exploded.
replace, in Burma and Wissa, that preparation, and he's now gone and exploded. He's scored the most goals the Brazilians ever scored in the Premier League season, and we're only halfway through. I'm sure you'll get more than 20 goals. To be honest, I mean he's only 4 away from 20, so he'll definitely smash that. And then what else? Obviously the manager. You gotta respect it, because the fact that they haven't even gone out and bought a manager, but have promoted a manager within their system. Like you got to give them so much credit for that, because not only have they saved a lot of money doing that, but he's done such a good job. And I think it's because he understands the club really well, because he's been there for so long. So yeah, you just got to respect what they've done and how good of a club they are. And to be honest, they deserve it all for the way they run the club's run. So yeah, you obviously got to hold up our hands and apologise for the prediction that we made. So
Yeah,
yeah,
that's us. And then with Hassan predicting Sunderland, obviously at the time they had a great transfer window. We didn't know how their players would solidify. But obviously they've done very, very well, and they had a bit of a fall off since AFCON. They
yeah,
haven't been picking
I
up a
think
lot of
yeah.
wins, but that's expected because they signed a lot of African players.
Mm.
But again, they have Mr. Granit Xhaka, I think, has been one of the signings of the season. Maybe less so now because I think more players have made a higher impact to
Mm.
a bigger degree, I would say.
Yes,
But he's still, but I'd probably still say he's up there in the
top three in my
conversation
opinion,
for it.
easily.
And yeah, I think that's sort of justifies, hasn't followed the trend of promoted sides being relegated straight away. So I kind of don't blame him. And then obviously Leeds, they've done very well, but
Oh
again,
yeah,
they are only 16th. They've been on a very good vein of form, but they
yeah,
are only 16th,
but
and they're not actually that far off the drop zone when you think about it.
yeah,
They're
but
what?
I think the tactical change that Daniel Farker has done, the way I've seen a
And
video where
Calvert-Lewin's form as well.
of course the form of the Calvert Lewin, but the way he's tactically set them up now is just what is making them successful at the moment, and hopefully for them does continue, because it's nice to see these promoted sides not just go straight down and try and like stay up and give a good fight. And obviously Leeds are looking pretty all right at the moment, but then again we're only halfway through the season, so anything can happen.
Of course. Let's move on to who we predicted to be top goal scorer. Now, Hassan and Ali predicted Haaland.
Because
Obviously, he's the top goal scorer. That's a very, 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 very good one. Me, on the other hand, I predicted somebody who I thought would be a good player, and it is an absolute terrible shout. Victor Gyökeres.
yeah, Klaus, you're gonna need to explain yourself for that.
Yeah, I'll try and defend myself. I don't know what to say. To be honest, it's a
Bro, that's such a
very stinky. At the time,
yeah,
with the form he come in with, you know what I mean? You think that, like Arsenal, all they needed, and I said this at the time, all they needed was a striker to
yeah.
really put away those chances that they were missing under with Kai Havertz, with Gabriel Jesus. At the time, I don't think it was a bad shout. And unfortunately, he's flopped. Not okay, flopped. To be fair, with the degree they expected
I
from
don't.
him,
Yeah, well, I
with
mean,
the
a lot of
goals they
Arsenal.
thought he
Yeah,
would bring.
yeah.
But let's be honest, how many chances has he really had? I don't know
It's
many chances for Victor
you could,
Gyökeres.
yeah. To be fair, you can argue it's slightly not his fault, because I don't really think he suits Arsenal in terms of what they need as from a
Yeah,
striker.
agreed.
And so again, it's not necessarily his fault. He probably would have been better off at Manchester United. Again, this is all hindsight. It's all if, buts, and maybes, not absolutes, right? But nah, on a real look, the only reason I knew I put me and Hassan put Haaland down, and I'm assuming this is
It's
Hassan maybe
easy.
had the same justification. So not only that it's easy, but we're talking about one of the best Premier League strikers, could be, well, of this generation. He could even be in Prem history if he does stay and carries on the way he is. I mean, look, he's already top goal scorer so far this season. The start of the season he had made us believe that he probably was going to go on and break his record again. Mind you, he broke the record in his first season. So I was just like, bro, no, there's just no better striker than him. And the way City are, and the way they, look, they didn't have the best season last season. Of course, that's probably their worst season they've had under Pep Guardiola, arguably, right? But what you got to understand is Guardiola. If we're putting any hope in someone to, get them going again or rebuild, it's going to be Guardiola. I mean, like, he's arguably the best manager in history, right? So yeah, I knew they were always going to be fine, and then Haaland was going to be the top scorer. But yeah, I don't know, that Gyökeres shout. I don't really blame you, if I'm being honest, because I think a lot of people thought he was
Listen,
coming and
but
do
I put
well.
home hands up. You know what I mean? He has not performed well. He has not.
He's not.
And
Yeah, Arsenal fans are not
I've watched
happy
so
with him
many
either, man.
predictions over the years before we started the podcast, and you see, like, looking back at it, some of the crazy shouts people put in for, like, and listen, we haven't finished our list yet, so there's still a couple more we have to go through, and
Yeah.
there are a few crazy ones, to be honest. Yeah, I mean, it was just a prediction, and unfortunately, I got it wrong, and he hasn't done well in terms of goal scoring. Some might
Yeah.
say he's a great defender. I saw a post of an Arsenal fan saying he's great defensively. I'm like, well, what's that got to do with
They
being a
trying to,
striker?
like, yeah, like they tried to justify it with like the way he
Justify the price tag.
his hold
It
up
wasn't.
play, this and that.
Let's
Look,
be honest.
there's
Probably a
not,
flop.
to be
Let's be
honest,
honest.
a lot of players. I mean, look, if you want to look at another Portuguese striker that came into the league with a big high price tag and had a lot of hope behind him, Darwin Nunez. He had a lot of teams that were in for him from the Premier League as well. Man United also wanted Darwin Nunez.
Yeah,
And
that's
look how
true.
he did. And now he's already gone. So, and
But
he thought,
he's won the league. So let's see if
yes,
Gokaris
true,
can win the league
true.
too.
I mean, yeah, exactly. Gyökeres, I mean, could easily win the
Yeah,
league
that's
in
what I'm
his
saying.
first season with Arsenal. So, yeah,
Yeah.
at least that
But
will sweet.
let's start looking at the best signing. Now, I think me and Ali had good predictions, I'll be honest. I predicted Brian and Burmo. I think that's a very fair
It's not a
prediction.
bad shout. It's not a bad shout.
No, it's not a bad shout at all. I think he's been very, very good for United, and I
I think
think
I've got the best shout.
he's already a massive improvement on the wingers we had.
Yeah, agreed.
I mean, comparing
Sorry,
to
who?
I mean, Hoyland wasn't a winger, but and
You mean
Anthony. Do you
Subject
know what I mean?
49, mate? Who you on about?
Literally, yeah. Who even is that, bro? That's what
Nah,
have I just said?
the
We're
meme,
gonna have to
like,
edit that out. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Um,
censor. Don't worry, I'll censor it.
do you know what I mean? Censor it, literally, bleep it, bro. Yeah. Anyway, so Brian Firmo, and it's not a bad prediction, I'd say. I think he's still
Very
very,
good.
very good. Probably our best signing, maybe our best signing actually.
I mean, he's one player of the month, so
Probably, maybe, yeah, he did win the Premier League Player of the Month as well, so
for you
that
guys,
also shows how good he's been. Ryan Cherky was yours. I think
I think
very
that's
fair.
probably the
He's
best
only
shout.
behind
Let's be honest.
in. It's debatable. It is debatable. I still think with Brian Mbeumo, it's still debatable. I'll be
You
honest.
think
I
he
mean,
might be? Oh, I don't know about that. I think he's
Brian
better than
Mbeumo's
Brian
been in
Burma.
the Afcon.
Okay, but I don't care. Ryan Cherky has been mental.
I never said he was bad, but I'm not saying, you know what I mean.
I don't know
My
if it's
point is
debatable
that
personally,
they've
but
both been good signings.
yeah,
Ryan
agreed.
Cherky's
But
only behind Bruno Fernandes in the assist charts. Do you
yeah,
know what I mean? But also
yeah.
comes with the team you play with, you know what I mean? You're going to get the
Okay,
chances to put those
okay.
goals
Then
in.
we'll say Hassan's, and I'm going to justify why I think.
Yeah, no, fair
Mine's.
enough. I mean, you can justify it now.
No, no. Let's say Hassan's first, and then.
Are you sure?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think they will.
Well,
Go
Hassan went
Hassan
the
first.
same route as me, Gyökeres. I mean, like Arsenal fans, we said that stat about them. You know, when he's on the pitch, they've only conceded 6 goals. Where when he's not on the pitch, they've conceded 8. So,
Yeah, let's be
you know
fair.
what I
I
mean,
think
it's just
Hassan probably was going to go with the same. I think he's not here to defend himself. I'm just going to say he probably thought because
same route.
similar-ish to
Yeah,
you,
same route.
top probably going to be a good goal scorer. Hasn't happened. Anyway, he's not here to defend himself, so we just won't mention it.
Hmm.
Yeah. So my justification why I think he's been the best is yeah, you can argue with Brian and Buemo, but I think the difference is Brian and Buemo has been in the Prem for some time, whereas Ryan Cherky's just come straight in and hit the ground running. And not only has he just like provided assists and goals and whatever, but the entertainment he's provided to the Premier League, I think, has to also be part of the the justification slash what's the word like. I can't think. But like you get what I'm saying. This is like part of the reasoning why I think he's possibly the player of this, like the signing of the season. Sorry, not the player of the season, the signing of the season. But yeah, no, he's been incredible. Really, it took him a bit of time to like kind of establish, like get himself going in the team. But obviously, it wasn't just him. I think City were like really more reliant on Haaland at the start of the season. But now Ryan Cherky and other players have started to contribute to goals. And yeah, and Ryan Cherky's been a big, part of that. So yeah, no, been very, very good signing. And I get your point with Brian Mbeumo because he has really revitalized the Manchester United attack. However, I think he hasn't been as consistent, in my opinion, as Ryan Cherky has. But then again, I mean, I think it's a bit subjective. So, you know what I mean?
I mean, yeah, I'll say that. Obviously, Brian Mbeumo for my club, I think he scored a lot of goals and been very, very important. He scored that goal at Anfield,
Yeah.
scored that brace against Brighton, and he's had big moments for United because I feel like it's harder to make it at United than it is at City, where Cherky has the opportunity. Now, I'm not saying Cherky's a bad signing. He's arguably up there. He probably is better than Brian Mbeumo and had more of an impact. But I would say that for what we needed as Manchester United, I think Brian Mbeumo. Because even then, some of us said that Brian Mbeumo wasn't
I
even going to
mean,
be a good
you could
signing.
you can
Really,
also include the price tag as part of it because, I mean, one was 30 mil, one was like 75 mil. I mean, if you look at the justification
yeah,
in
that's
that
a steal.
sense,
To be fair, no, I agree
so
with that. I
that
agree,
I
but
think
I still
that's
feel
what
like
also
also the
gives
impact.
them a
You know,
strong case for
no,
it.
no, it's fair. No, it's a fair claim. No, and also Cherky's up there. He might even be the best, but I would say Brian Mbeumo is not a bad shout at all.
No, I agree.
Do you know what I
I
mean?
agree.
Because I feel like, I was saying, we went from an attack of who shall not be named,
Subject
Anthony
49.
and Hoyland.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean?
yeah,
To having Mbeumo, Cunha, and Sesko. Sesko, okay, yeah, he's maybe showing a bit of form now, which is good. He scored 3 goals in 2 games, which is
yeah.
good start. But yeah, also had injury. But again, Brian Mbeumo's been away at AFCON. He played good in the AFCON, so we'll have to see what happens. Again, it'll be Cherky versus Mbeumo on the weekend. So let's see who comes out on top.
Oh,
Most likely
yeah,
Cherky. Most likely Cherky.
yeah.
Anyway, let's move on to the worst signing of the season. Now,
I reckon
I
he probably
think
had the best shout.
let's start with Hassan. I say start with Hassan because again, he can't really justify this argument. Noni Madueke,
I
really
mean,
and truly, not really a great. He's been good. I'd say he's been good for
no, he's
Arsenal.
been
I think
good
he's
for
been
Arsenal. He's been a
exciting.
very good squad
I think
player.
he's been exciting, to be honest. And I
Yeah.
think he's scored some good
I
goals.
think at
And
times he's
even the
shown.
game against Bournemouth, I
In
remember
some games,
he
he's
created
been
that
a
first
bit
goal.
more important than maybe a Saka has been, if you know what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah,
I
the
think
different players. I think
again, it's different
yeah,
players.
he's more
I
direct.
think he's maybe provided at times. By the way, I'm not saying he's a better player, but at times maybe provided in the game more than Saka might provide, if you know what I'm saying. Again, I'm not saying he's a better player because he's not. Otherwise, he would be starting, which he isn't, right? However, I think. Look, again, he's not here to defend himself. I think maybe Hassan, based on Madueke's history in the Prem, maybe that's what he's with Chelsea.
Yeah,
So it's probably where
yeah.
he's decided to put that. But and obviously because he was behind Saka, you get what I'm saying. He's probably thinking
Yeah,
he might not
exactly.
play at all
Saka's
and
had a couple
whatnot.
of had an injury, so he had
Yeah,
the
he's been
opportunity to play. Do you know
exactly.
what I
So
mean?
he's been a good squad
But
player.
I say we'll go on to your one. You predicted Benjamin Sesko to be the worst signing. It's not
I
a
think that's a pretty good
crazy
shout.
shout, but as you expected with Manchester United. Do you know what I mean?
I think it's a pretty good
But
shout still.
really, you think he's been
I
the worst?
think
Do you think he's been the worst signing?
I don't think he's been the worst. My point is like I don't think it's a bad shout. I think yours is definitely the best shout, arguably.
Hmm.
I mean, there's been so many signings. I mean, realistically, we've had signings West Ham that
I think
could be
yours is
worse.
justified when you
But
talk
I
about Man
think mine is
United.
justified because first of all, we got to look at again when we look at signing of the season, like best or worst, the price tag always has to be involved because we're not just talking about as how they've performed, but the deal. The deal. Did the team get a good deal? You get what I'm saying? That's why, in my opinion, the price tag is important. Again, it's not the player's fault that the price tag is a certain price, but my point is, I'm not just looking at it for the player, like how they perform, but how it's impacted the club in a sense. You get me? And obviously, if they spend a lot of money, that's impacts the club in a bad way. Again, he was like, how much was he? He was like, you tell me because I can't remember how much he was, but 70.
70 mil,
I believe
70
he was
million
70
euros.
mil, right?
Let me I can double check
And
that for you
for
now.
the
1 sec.
output he's put, it's just not been good.
It's not enough. No, I agree.
Nowhere near. Look, good for him because recently he has picked it up a little. Got 2 beautiful goals against Burnley and he got a goal against Brighton. So hopefully for his sake, this is where he picks it up now. Because he is a young player, so that also has to be taken into account. It's not easy to come into the Prem as a young player
And injuries as well. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly, and try to hit the ground running, especially for a position for a club which brings so much pressure. You know, obviously Man United striker or goalkeeper, they're probably the most pressure on a player there can be. Like if you know what I'm saying, and even like let's be honest, like the Man United fans can be so toxic and give the like if a Man United player doesn't hit the ground running, yeah, call it a day, bro. Because you're sorry, but your fan base are not supportive whatsoever. Like yes, if a player's
Agreed.
doing well, they're supportive,
Agreed.
but you should not only be supportive when a player's doing well. You should be supportive when they're going through bad patches, bro. Especially if it's a young player that's just come into the team. What do you expect him to do? He's not going to be, you can't expect every player to be like Ronaldo. You know what I'm saying? Or Bruno Fernandes.
Yeah, I said this.
You know
I've
what I'm
said this
saying?
so much about
Callis,
Benjamin
yeah,
Sesko,
Callis
and
has said
you can see I've defended
Callis
Benjamin
has been
Sesko.
his biggest
Hassan
defender,
said
to be
that
fair.
Benjamin Sesko is terrible and all that. I'm like, you can't
Hassan's more like a
define
typical
it.
United fan, bro.
He is. And again, we're not going to
Again, he's
mention it
not.
too
Yeah,
much because
he's
he's not here to defend himself. But the point is I feel like with these signings, you can't really judge them fully on their first season.
That's
But again, obviously, the impact is very, very important. And it does take time for some players to embed, right?
Yeah.
Sesko is picking up form now. Can he keep it up? We've got
Yeah.
2 very big games, Manchester City and Arsenal coming up, and then obviously the games after that. If we want to do well this season, we do need Sesko to score goals. But again, when a player like Sesko and it's in a team like Manchester United and he doesn't get chances,
Yeah.
what do you expect him to do?
Yeah.
In that sense, do you know what I mean? Like Sesko hasn't had clear-cut chances, and the clear-cut chances he's had. Actually, I take that back. He has missed a couple of chances, but he has had clear-cut chances. I take that back. But again, like we said, young player.
But I don't want to.
He's been
all right.
I don't want to drag it too much. He's not been great. He's not been great. But again, I would say he's
Just give
still
him
young
time.
and he has time
Yeah.
to embed.
Look,
A
again, still
player
not
that
halfway
I
through the
think
season.
I got
Anyway,
probably bang on the money, to be honest.
do you reckon he's been the worst?
Whether he's the worst, I mean, you look at the
Could be.
stats. He's only got one goal in the Premier League,
Yeah.
one goal in the Champions League, and that's
Yeah.
it
I think a
this
lot of people
season.
thought this wasn't
And
even a
that's
good
Liam
sign.
Delap. Now, looking at it now, and like I said, hindsight is everything. I'm actually very happy we signed Sesko over Delap because
Yeah.
Sesko's had more of an impact and probably is more impactful in games because Sesko's hold up play
Is
and
better, probably.
as a general consensus is better than
Overall attributes,
what
I get
Liam
you.
Delap is delivering for Chelsea. Again, you have to take injuries into account. It's not completely fair, but again, the games he has played, he hasn't impacted enough, and
Yeah.
that's what I'll say about Liam Delap.
He didn't get sent off recently, or am I tripping?
No, he hasn't been sent off now.
Oh, don't worry. I mean, it's just like I'm so used to Chelsea. It was Cucurella, actually, sorry, that got sent off recently. My
Actually,
bad.
he got sent off in the Carabao Cup, but I don't know when that was.
Yeah. No, and yeah, anyway, like, let's be honest, most of the Chelsea players have been sent off this season. Anywho, that, again, Liam Delap, maybe you can argue it's been a bit. The fact that they signed João Pedro for the same position, really, because I know he's a bit more versatile, can play cam, and sometimes they've done that in game where they've had both of them playing. However, yeah, I also think when it was kind of similar to like when actually it's not really similar. I was going to say when like Liverpool signed Katika and then Isaac, but like you get what I'm kind of getting at with that. Like you signed one striker and then
Yeah, two strikers,
you get
yeah,
what I'm
to fight
saying?
for one place.
So. And they're kind of, if I'm being honest, they're probably similar level because I'm not going to lie. João Pedro hasn't been. He's been much better, but he hasn't been like that
He
much
hasn't been
better.
great either.
Yeah.
I will also say
So
one thing as well. These actual predictions were made before the transfer window had closed. So obviously there were more signings that were made.
yeah,
And maybe we could have had different players involved in
yeah,
this,
yeah.
obviously, with the signings. So, yeah, that's just
I think we made them
also
before
another
not
thing.
only the transfer, but we made it before the season possibly started, I believe. But
Yeah, close to
yeah,
the beginning of the season. Yeah, so I
maybe
think it was the game. The video before the season started. So yeah,
yeah. So anywho,
so yeah.
that was
Anyway,
that.
let's move on to the player to watch for the season. Now we're gonna leave Ali last, only because we're gonna leave Ali last, and he's definitely gonna have to justify it because even at the time it was a stupid shout, and it looks even more stupid now. Yeah, let's go on to Hassan because I feel like let's get Hassan out the way first because he's not really here. Florian Wirtz, it's a fair assumption to have him as a player to watch. Big price tag. Let's be honest, hasn't performed, scored goals. I think performance-wise, he's been okay, but
Yeah,
he's
something's
picked up a
picking up.
lot now.
Yeah,
He's picked up a lot now,
got
so
a
let's
goal and
see what he
assist
can do
today.
from now till the end of the season, and that's very important. We can't obviously just judge it, but from what we've seen so far, he's only got 2 Premier League goals. Some might say he has 0 because he scored 1 against Wolves and 1 should have been offside.
And one against Barnsley though
Anyway,
today. He's got 3 goals actually, me. But that probably
come on,
doesn't
bro.
count.
It's Barnsley. Come on, bro. Anyway, the point is, yeah,
Yeah.
he's picking up form now. And listen, if he gets 1 big goal against whoever they play next, then you can't even just it's he's picking up. That's the
Yeah,
thing with the
I
Florian
think
Wirtz.
unfortunately for him, his price tag has not helped him whatsoever. If he had come
Agreed.
in for like let's say 50 mil, you'd be like, yeah, he's not that bad. He's actually pretty good. But it's the fact that he came in as a record-breaking signing, obviously, and then Isaac, ended up being that. But it's the fact that he was that. Anywho, he's not here to justify his predictions.
Yeah, so we'll move on from that. We'll move on
Callis
from
can
that.
quickly do his, and then
Let
I'll
me
do
go on
mine.
to me. So I said Estival, and I feel like that's a
Pretty
very
good.
fair prediction. He's been again. He's young. I'm pretty sure he's only 18.
Yeah.
He's had magic moments for Chelsea. He's
Yeah,
looked
and he's clutched up at
exciting.
times.
He's clutched up at times.
Obviously
That
against
goal. I mean,
Liverpool.
it's not the Premier League, but he scored a great goal against Barcelona in the
Hey,
Champions
don't
League.
forget the Liverpool last minute winner.
Yeah, Liverpool as well. That was a last minute winner. Do you know what I mean? He's a player who I think is also for the future.
Yeah.
But he definitely was a player I thought would be very exciting and
To be
is
fair, he's
proving
probably
it
been their best
from
player.
moments. Do you know what I mean? He's been one of their best players, yeah, 100%. And he's been exciting. And I think Chelsea fans will say they're very happy with that signing and hopefully the acquisition is good for the long term. But, Al, you predicted Nicholas Füllkrug.
Sorry, what?
He's not even at the
Nah,
club anymore.
Look, obviously, he's just so
Obviously,
good
what?
for the Prem that he just had to leave. Like, exactly, that's what happened. We just felt so bad having such a good asset that we stopped playing him and sold him. Nah, like on a real. I made right with this one. I didn't want to go with like a typical, easy player to watch. So I just thought, let me go for one that maybe for my club in it. And obviously, I've come out with maybe the worst take of that video. Again, I wanted to do something a bit different with the take, right? But obviously, it's bit me back in the fucking ass tenfold, because he's now also left, right? I mean, what do I say? It's just a shit prediction. I just thought, like, because of preseason, he looks alright. Maybe he could pick up some form. But yeah, no. It's just gone to
Not great.
absolute
Not great
shit.
at all.
There's not really much to say apart from that. It's just, I was a stupid prediction.
Yeah, it was bad. It's because we were saying,
and
even
yeah.
if you look at our reactions from the original video, you can tell we're like, what are you doing? That is
Again, I just want to have a bit of
awful.
fun with it, but there you go. It is what it is.
I respect the fact you're trying to have fun, but even then, there's fun and then there's stupidity, and I feel like that's just stupid.
Sometimes in
I'll be honest.
life, you don't want to be too competitive.
Listen, on the next one,
Okay,
the section says manager of the season. Now, I don't think that was what we discussed.
Manager to watch. Sorry.
Manager to watch. Yeah. These managers are to watch, and me and Hassan predicted Ruben Amorim. He's not even at the club anymore. But I feel like, let's discuss Ruben Amorim. I feel like this is a very important point to discuss, right? Me, as a United fan, I felt like we were starting to see improvements under Ruben Amorim. We were.
Yeah.
Look at last season. We were awful. Yeah. And he's trying to implement a whole new system. Even at the end, he started to implement his back four. But again, I feel like that was forced upon him.
Yeah.
We were improving. We had players gone with AFCON. We had a lot of injuries. And that's what killed him at the end. I mean, the reason he got sacked was not because of his results. It's because of what he said.
Yeah.
It's because he knew the club weren't going to back him. And they didn't. And they still, obviously, they haven't bought a player now. Again, Michael Carrick is coming in, so we're going to have to see how he does from now until the end of the season, what happens with him and who we get in the summer. But Ruben Amorim, he made a very bold move, and I think it was a justified move, because when you're at Manchester United, they are not going to back you. And that is clear. In January, they always say it's not the right place, but there were opportunities. Conor Gallagher's going to Tottenham. We could have gone in for that. We could have seen if he'd want to come to Manchester United. I'm sure he might have. Ruben Neves is available right now for £20 million. Why would you not take a punt at him? He's better than some of the midfielders we have. Some might say, Ugarte. Some people say Ugarte is terrible. I think he's played quite well recently. Kobbie Mainoo wasn't playing. Bruno Fernandes can be used upfield, which obviously he's much better as an attacking midfielder, but a good player. And Casemiro is losing his legs, and I feel like that hasn't changed. So it's not fair on Ruben Amorim. I feel very, very bad for the man, and I actually hope he moves to another club and proves the Manchester United heritage wrong, because he has been, what is even the word for it?
Disrespected,
done over. And me as a personal United fan, I know United fans online, they're very short-tempered, and they only look at the short term and how, the last couple of games we haven't been performing well. If he had won 2-3 games in a row, they'd be happy with him. If they had lost 2 games and drawn 1, then they'd obviously be pissed at him. And again, the reason he got sacked wasn't results, because even Jim Ratcliffe said he would give him the whole season, but the reason he got sacked is because he attacked not attacked, but sort of exploited the heritage and the CEO and all of that. So yeah, it's it was a manager to watch, because it's very interesting what happened with him. So yeah, he's been sacked, but I still believe whoever he goes to in the future, I do wish him all the best, because he didn't really get given a fair chance at Manchester United and didn't get backed correctly. So I think if he gets I think he'll get a move to a big club in the future, and I think he'll be one of the best managers in the world, and I still believe that. But let's move on to yours. Now, This was probably just on the same kind of level, probably worse, even though Amorim's been sacked.
Yeah,
I think Thomas Frank has already done much worse.
I mean, I think I've actually just talked about it earlier when I was talking about why I put Tottenham at 6th, or in the 5th and 6th position. Obviously, I mentioned Thomas Frank and how it's gone all. He's lost the players in the dressing room completely. I think a good example of that is when Jed Spence and Van Van der Ven ignored him on the pitch in. Was it against Arsenal? I can't remember what game it was, but yeah, basically ignored him on the pitch. I can't remember what game it was, and yeah, that was a
No, I can't
disgraceful
remember either.
example of how he's lost the players, the fans as well. He's lost the fans completely. There's an absolute disconnect between him and the fans. They absolutely despise him and want him out as soon as possible. Something that definitely hasn't helped him as of recent is that picture of him holding an Arsenal cup. Yeah, that definitely did not help him. But yeah, no, it's not looked great. The results haven't been great, especially at home. They've been god awful. They've been so bad at home. And that's where you really want to be doing well because it's in front of the fans, and that's where the fans are going to be watching the game. That's where most, when it's you got most of the fans watching the game in person.
I
So
mean, the
that's
majority of the fans are Tottenham fans.
you get what I'm saying. But like, yeah, it's good and all having a really good away form. And don't get me wrong, it's not. That's a good thing. It's not a bad thing. But if your home form's awful, it doesn't matter because that's where it truly matters for the fans. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But unfortunately, the results just have not been there, and especially considering, you know, maybe you could argue, is it the signings? They haven't made good enough signings. I think personally, I think they have a good squad. I do. I think they have a really good balanced squad as well. I don't even think there's any. Maybe you could argue the midfielder, they don't have enough creativity, which is true. I mean, Xavi Simons hasn't been good enough, unfortunately. And obviously they're missing Maddison through injury, who I don't even know if this guy's ever coming back this season at this rate. I think he might be back in May, which is basically not even that's
End
the
of the
end of the
season.
season.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But yeah, it's all gone wrong, unfortunately, for Thomas Frank. Look, my justification for why I had him there, obviously, he's done so well with Brentford, and my thought process was, like I mentioned earlier, surely if he has better players with his system, it can only be better, right? I was absolutely wrong. And again, it's all, yeah, we're making predictions here. You have to just go off hindsight and what you know, and that's what I did, and it's gone wrong. But the game's the game, and that's how it happens. So
The
it
game
is
is
what
the
it
game.
is.
The
I ain't
manager
that
one is a
bothered
bit of a
anyway.
stinky one
I
from our
still like
side.
him as a manager, and I think if he moves away, he'll probably do well at a different club. I don't know where he'd go, to be fair, though. It's a bit
But
of a
again,
sticky one.
also when we looked at this, we were predicting manager to watch, and it's still very interesting because I feel like all these managers,
Yeah,
when you look at manager to watch, it doesn't necessarily mean the manager you think is going to do well. Again, I don't think any of these managers did well.
yeah.
I mean, manager, you could say manager of the season. There's manager of the season where obviously they're the best manager. Manager to watch is like the one you think is gonna have an
The
impact or something
biggest
like that. And
impact,
obviously,
yeah.
I mean, the biggest impact, and I
Or
mean, I
improvement,
thought
or
Ruben
whatever it is. And
improvement. I mean, I think from where we were from last season, maybe Ruben Aaron might have been a good shot if he didn't get sacked, but obviously he did. So let's move on to the next one, and it is young player of the season. Now let's go on to Hassan again. He said Florian Wirtz, which is the same as his young player to watch, and he's not been young player of the season, and I won't even call him a youngster anyway. So, bit of a strange prediction from Hassan, but he did qualify for it. So yeah, that's his prediction. Didn't really go that well. We've already discussed Florian Wirtz. Let's go on to Ali's one, young player of the season, Estival. I think that's
yeah,
a fair shout.
again, I based it off what Callis, has said about like basically. I don't need to really. I don't want to justify it. Like talk about it too much. I mean, Callis had already talked about why he had him as was it player season? I think he had him as or
Yeah, young player of the
yeah,
season.
something.
Sorry, player to watch.
Player to watch. Sorry, yeah. So basically, same reasoning as Callis. He's a very exciting player. Obviously, saw him in the Club World Cup against Chelsea. I mean, that's exactly the reason they signed him, and he's been doing great. And realistically, I think he's been their best player. So, has he been the young player this season? I mean, I don't know if Ryan Cherky qualifies for it. I don't know
He's
how old he is.
22,
Might
so
I think that technically
it's a
qualifies. I mean,
grey area. I
if we
feel
were
like
basing off the Copper Trophy, the one that's for the youngsters, then technically he does
yeah,
qualify for it.
technically
But
yeah, it's under 23, so he does still
so
qualify. To be fair,
if we were going to put it that way, then he's probably been the young player
he
of the
probably
season.
yeah.
But
Brian Tricky would win that.
let's
I
be
think,
fair,
yeah.
when we think about young players, we're more thinking about like probably 20 and below. And
Teenagers,
if
I'd
that's the
say.
case, I'd probably say Esteval's probably been the best, to be fair.
Yeah.
That I can think of. Anyway.
I mean, mine was a bit of a rogue one at the time, and it hasn't really paid off. Chris Rigg, even though his club's done very well, he hasn't really been as impactful as I thought he would be. Because
Does he even
I'd
play?
watched him a little bit. He plays. He starts from here from time to time, and he's kind of in and around it, but he hasn't really had an impact. I don't
Yeah.
even think he scored this season. So not
Yeah.
very good prediction. I thought he would have more of an impact.
Yeah.
I watched him a couple times, And again, he's another young player who can still grow.
There's still time.
But yeah, he hasn't been impactful as I thought, because he hasn't got a goal or an assist in the Premier League, and he's only played 10 games. So yeah, that's not really a good prediction from me. But yeah, we'll move on to the player of the seasons. Now, this is probably one of the worst categories of the lot. Let's go on to Hassan. Bukayo Saka realistically is not a bad shout. It's not. I mean, all of these aren't bad shouts from the time, but he hasn't been that
Saka's not been
impactful.
the player of the season, I'm sorry.
No, he's not. No, he's not. He's not the player of the season. Close. But again, Hassan's not really here to defend himself. But Saka is still a very important player for Arsenal, and if they win the league, they're going to need Saka to help them out. So from now until the end of the season, you don't know. But we'll go on to mine. And I predicted Cole Palmer. Now, listen, Cole Palmer's a very talented player, and he's not played well this season.
Like injuries.
Listen, I think last season it was the young player of the year and the player of the year that me and you predicted, I believe. I'm just gonna have a look at the stats of Cole Palmer and actually how much has he played. He's played 11 games. He's played 11 games. That's half the games.
Yeah.
He's been injured.
Yeah.
But he hasn't been as impactful in games.
Can I say
he's only got 3 goals. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Even last season he weren't that great. Or even last year. Sorry, not last.
No,
season,
I agree.
2025, he did not really do much, and even when he wasn't injured. Again, he was injured for a lot of the time, but again, when he wasn't, he's fallen off basically since that first season he went to Chelsea. So, yeah,
I agree. No, but I think with Cole Palmer, it is at the time. Also, I was looking at the Club World Cup and how he performed in that final against PSG. He seemed so well. He is a very calm footballer. Give him a chance, he'll take it. And I don't think it's something that Chelsea should worry about, but he's not. If Cole Palmer is performing the way he did in that first season, I think Chelsea would be in the top 4.
Yeah, agreed.
Because he's that good, and he was that good, and I still think he can reach that.
Yeah,
he's
got the talent.
He's still young. He's only 23. Let's not forget that. And there's still plenty of time for him to come in and still be that player for Chelsea. New manager might play him in the right position, and also I've seen that they've been playing Cole Palmer in the cam, and that's not his preferred position. His preferred position is the right, where he's able to cut inside and have more of an impact, put crosses in, and get involved in the play like that. But they're playing Pedro Neto and he who shall not be named as left wing, and those two are shambles. They're a shambles they're probably the worst winger partnership in the league. They are absolutely shambolic. I mean, Garnacho, almost got me. He who shall not be named is absolutely dreadful. He's not having any impact at all for Chelsea, and he's only performing against the teams in the cups. League One sides. He scored 2 goals against Cardiff. Whoop-de-doo. The league leaders in he found his level. That's the thing. He found his level. And Pedro Neto, he's a good player, but he's just not. He hasn't got the end product.
Exactly.
And Cole Palmer, you have to play him in his best position. Otherwise, you won't get the best out of him. And that's just me. That's what I think. But let's go on to Al's player of the season prediction. And obviously, hindsight, he come off one of the probably the best season he's had ever. But then he's fallen off. No,
can you blame me?
I can't blame you.
I think I don't even think I have to justify why I made that prediction. It was clearly based off the fact that he was the best player last season, had the best season he's probably ever had, and they made and then they ended up having one of the best transfer windows we thought.
Can I also say one thing as well before you get into it? With the situation with Salah and Van Dijk and Trent, remember we were discussing how contracts have a massive impact. I mean, Salah played out of his skin. Van Dijk obviously played out of his skin as well and had a good season winning the league with Liverpool. And so did Trent. Trent less so probably.
I believe.
But yeah, he was good, but he wasn't as good as the other two. Those two were way more impactful, right? It's just they built that contract. They worked so hard. They got that contract from Liverpool, and they've both fallen off a cliff. Yeah. And it's really weird. It's almost like they've got that safety barrier now. They're getting paid, and they don't have to perform to a high level.
I think it's a bit harsh to say. Yes, does that happen with players? Of course, and especially because of how it's probably going to be their last contracts with Liverpool. That's
what I'm saying. They're more desperate. They're more desperate to get that contract, to get that final bag, that final paycheck. It could have an
impact. We can't it's not something we can really answer because we're not them. You know what I mean? Yeah. However, The only reason you can maybe argue maybe it's not that is because at the start of the season they weren't that bad. And I mean, Salah was still getting goals and assists at the start of the season. Like, I don't like. I can understand the psychology of that, but I also just think
Yeah,
like
100%.
they love the club so much. They've done so well with the clubs before. Why would they just not care anymore and just give up? They wouldn't, because they're playing for one of the biggest clubs in the world. They've already just won the league. They probably want to, they probably want to go for another league, maybe a Champions League. You know what I mean? Like I'm not 100% sure whether just look, yeah, has it had a bit of an impact? Of course it has. It's a bit like you say, that safety barrier, and makes them, maybe ease off a little and not put as much effort in. Um, but again, I don't know. The whole club, like the whole of Liverpool, haven't been doing great
But let's
this
also not
season.
forget he also had that argument with you on a slot as well,
Yeah,
where he
exactly.
came out
So
of the interview and he kind of crashed out a little bit.
yeah. But I think, to be fair, Arnie Slot has handled it extremely well. I
He
think they've
did. He
kind
did. I
of
agree.
recovered it, the relationship, and I think AFCON probably came at the perfect time because now Arnie Slot doesn't have to justify not playing him because obviously that was the whole thing.
And Salah's performing quite well in
And
Afcon.
Salah's performing quite well at AFCON, and if he comes back and performs well for Liverpool, then I think it all just just goes over. Like people will forget about it and just be like, was it brushed under the carpet? So yeah, I think AFCON came at the perfect time. I think fair play to Arnie Slot because he handled it really well. And yeah, and you never know with Salah. You cannot deny his talent. That's one thing.
No.
He is easily one of the best Premier League players ever. Some people argue that he is the best Premier League player ever. Some people. I'm not saying he is, but some people argue it's
They might be
between him
Liverpool's best player ever,
and
but he's
only.
not the best
Oh yeah,
Premier League
yeah,
player
yeah.
ever.
But I mean, again, it's up for debate. I mean, you can't deny it with the seasons he's had. He's been consistent every season. He's been at Liverpool.
Yeah. No, I don't blame the shout,
So
but I
I
don't
think
even
he's
think.
easily top three, and
Yeah.
if you don't think he is, then you're just deluded. I'm sorry, but he is top three.
Wow.
Who do
Wow.
you don't think he's top three?
Of all time,
Yeah,
Premier League all time.
yeah.
No, I don't think he's
You're
top three.
oh my god, you're mental. Okay, okay, right. Well, that's a different discussion for a different day. But look, in my opinion, I
We can
think he
discuss it
is
now if you
easily.
want.
Nah. We ain't got the time to discuss that, bro, because we'll be here forever, and I CBA for that.
Oh,
But all I'm saying is, put in the comments if you think he is. Personally, I think he is. Whatever. Anyway, that's my justification for why I picked him, and I think it was a pretty good justification. Anyway, I think he was, it's a it's a good prediction, but unfortunately, it hasn't come to fruition. So, yeah.
yeah, 100%. I mean, funnily enough, he's actually scored the same amount of goals in Afcon as he has in the Premier League this season for Liverpool. So that's not a great stat. But again, if he can use that confidence from Afcon and come back and sort of get over the sort of drama, I guess, a little bit he had with Slot, he can definitely come back and help Liverpool at least finish higher up in the table. And never know, can help him in maybe the FA Cup, maybe even the Champions League, have a good run in that. But again, the league is out of the question really for Liverpool, and I don't think Salah can impact it that much.
Yeah.
But that is it, guys. That is what we have gone through. Again, we've discussed sort of the season as a whole, what our predictions were, maybe even who is the young player of the season. Actually, we didn't really do that, to be honest, but maybe we can discuss that further down the line when the season's actually over, and we'll come back and look at it and probably look at the actual predictions and the actual sort of outcome, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that will be probably a more fair comparison. But again, a halfway point in the season. Again, hindsight, we've made some mistakes. We've made some good predictions. That's about it. Yeah. Again, we're new to this, so yeah. Hopefully, again, you guys can leave your predictions in the comments below. You guys can leave your opinions on what probably the worst take was. I think I know what the worst take was.
Okay,
but,
we just move
yeah,
over.
I think Ali.
Yeah, doesn't
Yeah,
worry.
we
Yeah,
don't have
don't
to
worry
go over.
about
We
it.
don't have
Don't
to
worry
go over
about
it.
it.
It's fine. It's fine. Yeah, it's fine. We'll move on. But yeah, thank you guys for coming in. Al, do you wanna give us the play of the next video or this video?
Yes. All right, let's start with the first fact. He scored his first Premier League goal in the 2001-02 season while playing for a club that finished in the top four that year. Second fact, he was part of a midfield that helped a newly promoted Premier League side qualify for the UEFA Champions League. Third fact, he was a regular star in the Premier League during the era when his club famously finished fifth for 3 consecutive seasons. For the fourth fact, he scored the opening goal in the Premier League North London derby played at White Hart Lane in the mid-2000s. Fifth and final fact, he made over 200 Premier League appearances across spells at Newcastle, Tottenham, and Queen Park's Rangers. So let us know in the comments if you know who that is, and we'll of course reveal him at the next episode.
Perfect. Thank you very much. And that's it, guys. Thank you very much for coming in. Please leave a like, subscribe, turn on the notification bell so you get notified when we upload videos, and we'll see you on the next one. Take care, guys.
Take care.